Hi, this is Stephen Cash from the Steady State. Earlier this week, the president issued a statement saying that he plans on issuing a blanket pardon to anyone who came within 200 yards of the Oval Office. He would do this at the end of his term. What does this mean? Let's put aside whether the president had thought this through or whether he was joking, which I'm sure is what he will say when he's pressed on this. What are the implications of this? Well, let's look back to 1936 when Hitler introduced and passed a law commonly called the Gestapo Law of 1936, which essentially immunized his own Gestapo, his secret police, against all criminal judicial review in the future. Well, President Trump's potential joke goes a little bit farther. We don't know if he's really going to issue those pardons. Nobody really knows. He's a little bit unpredictable. But what he's saying to his supporters, the people within 200 yards of the White House and the Oval Office, is that they can count on not being accountable for crimes they commit between now and the end of his term. That means all potential federal crimes. Theoretically, they could kill somebody on the White House grounds and, in anticipation of that pardon, realize that they're allowed to do that. Now, I don't know how this is going to shake out over 3 years, but the point is he's making the statement to his supporters that he will pardon them, or he is likely to pardon them. And there's reason to believe him. He pardoned all of January 6th rioters, people who committed insurrection. His Justice Department is now going a step farther for those who had their sentences commuted and attempting to expunge the convictions, basically rewriting history so it never happened. There was no conviction. This is extremely dangerous. For the first time in the history of the United States, we have a president playing with the idea of the prospective pardon. It's always been used retrospectively when justice and mercy requires it. That's the point of the pardon clause of the Constitution. But what's happening here is fundamentally different. No president has ever even thought about it, as far as we know, and certainly never talked about it publicly, which is the idea of telling his followers that you can commit crimes in the future and I will forgive you. That fundamentally changes the equation in a rule of law democracy. It means some people aren't bound by law and they can do whatever they want. It's terrifying. Again, we don't know what he really means. It's very difficult to tell. But when you're trying to assess what his close supporters at the White House are thinking about, they're thinking about the fact that they can do anything and the president has told them he will pardon them. This should be deeply concerning to all Americans, right, left, and center.